Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, February 27th, 2026, and I'm coming to you live from the Yarn Garden in Charlotte, Michigan. Hello, everyone. It is the last Friday of February. We have one day left, and I'm always surprised. Now, I've been on this earth for more than 40 years, and I'm always surprised by how fast yet how slow February can feel. Good morning, Anna. Hello, Jean. It's, 2 or 3 days shorter than other months. And I'm always surprised when it's like the 27th and the 28th and it's the end of the month already. It always catches me off guard. Good morning, Karen. Hello, Crystal, Jillian, Christina, Barbara, Kathy. Hi, Jean, Sunny. Good morning, Mom. Hello, Gail. Good morning, Kathy. Hello, everyone. So it can feel like a long month, especially if you live in a season or in a part of the country that has winter during February, because so many times it feels like winter drags, especially in February. But if you play Finished Object February Bingo with the Yarn Garden, then sometimes February can fly by and feel like we don't have enough time to accomplish all the things that we were hoping for. Did that happen to anybody else? It definitely happened to me, but I can point to several things that got in the way of finishing the things that I wanted to finish. Hi, buddy. Did you want to say hi? Come here. Come here. All right, here's Mr. Kingsley. He just got a fresh haircut. Yes, here's Mr. Kingsley. Hi, buddy. He just got back from a walk with Dad. So he just got groomed earlier this week, so he looks a lot lighter now, doesn't he? Yeah. All right, go find something to do. All right, good morning, Patty. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Linda. Good morning, Susan. Mary says, definitely me. Yeah, I could use those 3 days. I could absolutely use those extra 3 days. Although, actually, I say that, but I really don't think it probably would make any difference on any of my projects that I have left anyway. So, yes. Good morning, Jana. And Scarlett. Hello. Hello, my kitties. Janelle says, yes, I accomplished a lot, but not as much as I wanted. Yeah. It happens. It happens. We have big goals when it comes to our February plans. And we still have to do life. Even though if you were like a dare, if anybody asked her to do anything, she could say, no, I can't because I have to knit so that I get my bingos. So unfortunately, I can't provide that excuse for you anymore because the month is almost over. We have today and tomorrow. And I give you a little leeway in when does your day end, right? So does your day end at midnight? Or does your day end when you go to bed? It could be a matter of debate. We might need to consult with our bingo police, Jamie, and see what she thinks. Does February bingo end at midnight on March 1st, or does it end when you go to bed on February 28th? I think there could be some leeway there. So if you're close and you don't need any sleep, I think you might have a little bit of leeway right there. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning. Bonjour, Marie. Hello. All right, so plan for today's video. I have 2 new yarns. One is a brand new yarn from Manos, so brand new to them and to me. And the other one is a new yarn to the Yarn Garden, not necessarily to Manos. We're going to do a little wrap up and see how I actually ended up doing with Finished Object February Bingo. And then there was a couple things from the trunk show that I wanted to show again, just to make sure that you guys saw all of the goodies. Karen and Teresa are both agreeing that it is when you go to bed. Yeah, that's when my day ends, is when I actually end up getting in bed for me. Let's see, Jeannie says that her day ends at 1 a.m., but she already got her coverall. Yes, she did. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Yes, Kingsley and I both got haircuts this week, so Thank you for noticing. Good morning, Rachel. Yes, and you're going to see why in very shortly. She said, good morning. I got a text that says it's from Yarn Garden this morning. Just confirming you sent me a pickup order link. Did you send her the invoice?
I did not send the invoice, no, but it was a notification that what her and I had talked about is indeed
ready. Okay, excellent. Got it. So yes, you'll see in a second, Rachel. You will see in a second. Hello, Diane. Good morning. Both Dianes, 2 Dianes in a row, one with 2 N's and one with 1. Good morning. Janice says midnight. Because that's when you go to bed is midnight, or that's because you're a rule follower and the official day ends at midnight? Yeah, I agree, Rachel. I know. She says, okay, awesome. Just making sure it wasn't spam. Can't be sure anymore. Yep, I understand. Absolutely. Pat says that she's finishing a corner square today, and that corner makes 3 of her 6 bingos. Awesome. Yeah, those corner squares, there's a lot that can hinge on those for a year, for sure. And she's setting a big goal for next year to be a coverall. Thank you. Yeah, we've already gotten several coveralls handed in this week, so congratulations to all of you. Typically, in previous years, I have shared pictures as people got bingos and came in to get their prizes. But this year, you guys were holding out on me, and I didn't start getting bingos until until last week. So I have decided that I'm still taking pictures, as you know, of you guys when you come in with your bingo cards. So I'm going to do one big celebratory post with all of everyone's bingos once I get everybody's bingo cards. So that is what is going to happen with that. Good morning. Thank you, Melinda and Roberta. Thank you, Nancy. No worries. No worries. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about what's still on my needles. Should we talk about that? How should we hit this? No, you know what? I'm going to set this down and we're going to talk about what I finished during Finish Object February. So there are 2 things that are not present that I did finish that are not here. So we'll talk about those. Let's see. Anna says, I say when you go to bed. If it is a day I'm working, she works until 3 a.m. So that is when my day ends. Yeah, it's weird to think of a day starting when I haven't gone to bed yet. So I'm with you, Anna. It's whenever I go to bed. Absolutely. All right. Little tea break here. All right. So what did I finish? So again, the 2 items that I don't have here with me that I'm considering finished. And Jamie, when you watch this, my bingo police friend, you might argue with me a little bit, but that's okay because it's, individual and everybody gets to make their own rules. The first one is my January and February adventure socks. I got those finished within the last week. They got put on Natalie's feet. She was the recipient of those socks, and I haven't seen them since. So I did take a picture. There will be a picture posted on the Finish Object February of Miss Natalie with the socks on her feet. But I have not seen them since she took them away from me, promptly put them on her feet. So that got done. That got me a couple squares. And I'm keeping up with my 2026 goal of a sock a month. So check and check. The other thing that I don't have here are my Marguerite modified pillows. So you might recall I was going to make this Afghan that I had a fear of missing out. I experienced FOMO with my group of friends, and I got started on this beautiful blanket, 2-color crochet blanket, and hated it. So rather than rip the whole thing out, I decided to alter the pattern, and I created 2 pillows. I had 4 motifs, so I sandwiched them together, and I crocheted them together. Now, they are not technically finished because I haven't been able to source the pillow stuffing that I want to put in there. So I'm considering it done. It's finished. It is altered. The pattern is altered. My plan is complete. I just have to get those pillow forms to stuff in there and then finish off. So I'm calling them done. I'm calling it that I earned my square for those. Checking it off. I know there might be some arguments there that they're not technically finished, but that's okay. It's all right. Because I am going to say I can live with the fact that I'm calling it finished. That's all that matters. Let's see, Pat says, so a couple days ago I stumbled on a bin that has 3 UFOs in it. I had them set aside for Finish Object February, but none of them earned a square this year. Well, see, here's the thing, Pat. If you don't specify which Finish Object February year, which year it is that you're setting them aside for, you're good. You're good. That's why if you start a project for a gift and you don't specify either the holiday that it's for or the year that you're making it for, then you don't disappoint anyone and you're golden. So just don't put a year on it and you'll be good. You will be just fine. Okay, so those are the 2 things that are not here that I can't show off as part of my Finish Object February stash. So what I tried to do myself is I tried to get as many squares as possible by only using 1 project per square, because I felt like that encouraged me to try and finish more of the things that I already had started rather than like doing the minimum amount to get the squares. Does that make sense? And again, this was totally my own game that I was playing because I wanted to actually try and get through a lot of my stash. So this is another object that I finished this month. This is my Night and Day Cowl by Andrea Mowry. This was 2 skeins of Cozy from Kelborn Woolens. So that was another finish object that I think you guys have already seen. This is the Literally scarf. You guys have seen that. That got finished and blocked this month. That's done out of Norocoma. Let's see. All right, and the rest of all these, well, you might have seen, did you see Prickly Thorns? You might not have seen Prickly Thorns last week. I think I had it blocked. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on so you can see it. I don't remember if I had it sewn together. I don't think I did. Okay, so here's Prickly Thorns. I think I had it blocked last week, but I didn't get to show it to you on. Good morning, Sherry. Okay, so this was my Olympic project. So I cast on and I bound off during the Olympic Games, and it was all sewn together and everything before the finishing ceremonies. So again, this is my design called Prickly Thorns. It is done with 1 skein of Competitive Soul, and I actually have a pretty good chunk of yarn left. So I'm going to be able to make one of my shelf hearts to show off the yarn. So that is my Prickly Thorns, and I love the detail on the back. When you seam this together, you know, with mattress stitch, you seam it together and you pull it tight, and then you smooth it back out again to keep your seam nice and smooth. But when I did that with the original cowl, I pulled it tight and I loved how it made that little scrunchy kind of detail. So I pulled it tight, I wove in my end, and there we go. So that is the Prickly Thorns cowl, and so that is finished. Thank you, Beth. She said it was blocked but not sewn together. So that was finished this week. Did you have something to share?
This would have solved your problem.
This would have solved, Pat's problem. Jason says this bag tag that he had created would have solved your problem if you had tagged it that you were waiting for February. But again, it's not dated.
That's right.
That's right. And then on the other side, he's got the hashtag Finish Object February. So if you are starting your collection for February 27, we do still have a handful of these, right?
Maybe 2 left right now.
Yeah, there's still a few of them.
You can always make more.
Yes, we can always make more. All right, so that was the Prickly Thorns cowl. Put my glasses back on. And then the cowl that I was wearing, I'm so proud of this. This is the Juniper cowl, and look at how long and how big this thing turned out. So this is crocheted, and this is my Advent from 2025. This is the yarn that I dyed for the Gnome River Yarns Adventure box. So I'm gonna put it back on. I don't know what to put the glasses back on, but I love how this drapes. And I know when you look at it without it actually being on, it looks kind of ridiculous, like you're making it for a giraffe, right? But I love how it just kind of falls and is so cozy and warm that you've got lots of fabric here. And I think, I haven't tried this yet, so I hope it works. You could.
We're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. Could you pull this up? I mean, you could. If you're really cold, it could work. And, or you had a really skinny waist or
boy.
you were a child, it might work as a skirt. I am not going to attempt that. I'm not sure it would make it past my shoulders or my behind. So that is the juniper cowl. That was finished during whip work day on Saturday. Jason is chuckling. We don't want to know what he's chuckling about. All right, what else did I finish? I finished, we have a little story time here. Kathy says I look like a nun. Or it could be a tube top. I'd still have to get it past my shoulders, Teresa. I'm not sure that that's gonna happen. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. Kathy, look like a nun. It is not a habit. All right, so I have a little story time here, guys. You guys, I didn't realize this until I got here today, and I was trying to line my pair of socks up here that I finished recently. I only had toes to do on this pair to finish this pair of socks. So I whipped it out, got it out, I counted my rows. Now I had my stitch markers in, this was the first sock that I made, and I put a stitch marker in every 10 rounds. So every 10 rounds, I put a locking stitch marker in so that I can make sure that I knit the same number of rounds on my second sock, and I had it in the leg of the sock as well. So I knit this sock, it was last year, but I think it was early last year, and then I set it aside and I didn't start my second sock until our sock camp, which was, I can't remember, October or November. So I started that, and then I got close to being done, set it aside. Anyway, well, you guys know that story. You know that, we all do it. So I picked this up and I made sure I had the same number of rounds, but something was different between sock number 1 and sock number 2, because, okay, I'm lining up the backs of my heels here. Sock number 2 is significantly larger than sock number 1. Significantly. So this is a lesson to me to make sure that I use Ravelry or a project journal of some kind, and I make notes about needle size and or gauge. So
Because you didn't.
something went awry. I don't know what, because there is the same number of rows on these two socks on the feet. The same number of rows, guys. I double checked this morning as I was going, like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Now I do remember there was a conscious decision made on the leg. I had already knit further, a few rounds further on sock number 2 than sock number 1, but I was like, you know what, I don't care, because it's the leg of the sock. It's gonna be in my boot or under my pant leg. I don't care. I'm not gonna rip out to make sure that they're the same length. The only thing, so it's so strange to me because circumference wise, like, it's not that much different. I mean, the orange one, the second sock is a little bit bigger around than the first one, but you guys look at how different that is, the length. So yeah, learning moment here for me is I need to make sure I use my Ravelry Projects notebook and put needle size in as my, so that I can refer back to that. That's the only thing I can think of that it's a different needle size. I didn't use the same needle size from sock number 1 to sock number 2. Because I knit it in the same year, it's not like my gauge would have changed that significantly, although that can happen. So yeah, use your notes. That was, learning curve number 1 or learning tip number 1, lesson number 1. Write it down somewhere. Either my plan is to use Ravelry, use my notebook on Ravelry to keep track of these things, or a project journal or a notebook or whatever you want to use. And then B, don't wait between socks. Cast on one, finish it, cast on the second one with the same needle, and then if you need to put it away, put it away. Oh, goodness. So I'm really annoyed by that, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. I might just...
You're going to wear them with pride.
I might just wear them. Or, I mean, conceivably I could rip out the toe of the orange one. This is the one I just finished. rip out the toe, rip out a few rounds of the robin's egg teal aqua here, and then reknit the toe, but I'm really annoyed by them, so I probably won't do that at the moment. Maybe I'll tuck them away for finished object February in 2027. So, there we have it. Christina says, it's a good example of why swatches matter to show how different a different size needle will be. And really, guys, this could only be one needle size different. I can't imagine I would have made that much of a mistake to use that significantly different of a needle. Now, like I said, I just discovered this before I went live this morning, so I haven't been able to actually measure gauge and see how significantly different it is. But let this be a lesson to us all. Let's see, Karen is sharing Ravelry, not only size, but I put in which needle I use, like if it's wood or metal, because that can affect it also. Yep, absolutely. Jean is sharing, I have a sweater in progress where the back is about 2 inches shorter than the fronts due to a row gauge issue over a few years. Yep. And Jillian says, knit 2 more socks to match each one. I really don't want to do that. And also, really, this was, you probably noticed that each sock had a different contrast color. And it was because I was using up scraps. You know, I picked a full skein or almost a full skein of this, and I was using scraps to finish off the toe and the heel. So that's a good idea, but it probably won't happen. Karen is sharing, I use a tape measure for the pair I just finished. First finished pair, so I will make sure I keep using that method rather than switching to just counting rows. And Linda says, I also tried to note the type of needle, metal or wood, because that can change. Yes, good advice, Linda. Karen, I'm going to circle back to that comment because, yes, there's 2 things that really went wrong there. One, I was only depending on my row counting, right? I was not comparing the 2 socks. If I was, you know, holding up the first sock and with the second one, I would have found that out a lot sooner.
Maybe you and I each get 1.
Yeah, but we both have 2 feet, so that doesn't help. So yes, maybe another lesson might be that don't rely on just one method. And if you already have the first sock done, hold up the second sock to the first sock and make sure that you're good before you start a toe. Anyway, let my pain be your lesson learned. Jana is giggling at me. Yep, that's okay. We've all done it. We will all do it. The first time that I ever knit color work mittens, I had to knit 3 mittens in order to get 2 that were somewhat close to the same size. So yes. Kathy Pierce says she's been known to burn it. Not a bad idea. Might be really cathartic. And Kathy Klein is joining in late. Hello, Kathy. But those are done and off the needles, and they did earn me a square. So there we go. All right, the last thing that I finished last night, actually, this is my mending. Let's see, let me make sure I use the right squares here. Mend or embellish an item. You guys might remember seeing Jason's wedding socks. These are 15 years old. They have been mended and repaired so many times that I was debating on whether or not to continue to mend them this year. There were many, look at, you can even see there's patches on the instep. Jason walks on the balls of his feet. He's very forward moving. So his socks always tend to wear out there on the back of his, on the bottom of his feet. So I just totally knit new patches and sewed them on. I think that was even last year's bingo square. But this year, the back, the heel on one sock had a hole starting. So this one I actually did, I don't even know if this is a real method because I just kind of made it up. But it's more of a woven patch. Like I did kind of a weaving patch darning method rather than knitting a patch and putting it on. I actually just kind of wove it back and forth and did it on the front, and then I did it on the inside too where the actual hole was. So you can see there's the inside with a little bit of that weaving in there and the 2 ends. So hopefully those will felt back down. And anyway, put a little bit more life into his wedding socks. So that was sock number 1. And then while I was showing you guys that, I discovered on sock number 2 that there was a hole up here on the instep. So I had grand plans to make this kind of into a little heart, and that failed miserably. So I just ended up kind of scribbling, for lack of a better word. I just kind of closed the hole up, wove my ends in on the wrong side, and kept it from getting worse. So I'm thinking perhaps this is going to be the last time that Jason's wedding socks get darned, because really there's not much fabric left on his feet. So there we go. That earned my square this time. All right, I'm missing lots of comments here. Jeannie is saying that she'll take one of my mismatched socks for her garland. They're too big for your garland. You don't want that. Good morning, Nancy. Glad to see you here. Jillian is sharing that I could give them to a veterans hospital for people that only have 1 foot. I absolutely could donate them. That's a very good idea. Sunny says, I have a beautiful pair of colorwork mittens, one much larger than the other, but I wear them because who's really going to notice, right? But yeah, I understand. Aw, Maggie says he is so knitworthy. Yes, I would rather that he wears his socks out than not wear them at all. Susan says, delighted that you decided to mend them. Karen says, almost looks like Swiss darning. I will have to look that up. Next time I need to mend them with sole. I know, I thought about that, but I had the grain right handy. Right in front of me. Okay, so that was that. What else? I finished a couple of cute little baby hats. So I'm going to donate these for to my friend Jeannie. She's going to take them to the local hospital up in Lansing. So a cute little boy hat. This is done with 2 strands of vintage baby. There's no pattern. This is an opportunity for me just to play and not have to worry about following pattern or writing anything down. So again, 2 colors held together of vintage baby. So 2 shades of purple, 2 shades of blue. Because I decided not to finish the Marguerite blanket, I have a lot of vintage baby stash. So that is, I went stash diving for these 2 cute little hats. So that's my charity object and my start and finish projects. Aren't they cute? I know. I barely remember when my babies were small enough to fit into those. Good morning, Diane. Rachel says, my husband requested a pair of socks. Do you have plans for beginner sock class anytime in the near future? We don't necessarily, but let's stay in contact because we could absolutely do a private lesson. But thank you for the suggestion too. I always like to hear what people are interested in making. Oh, I almost forgot. I finished sewing together this handsome little dude. This is Nandad from Nandad's Grand Adventure. I got his little pieces and parts all finished this week and sewed him together. So he is done. I have not trimmed his mustache. The directions or pattern suggests that you trim the mustache. Do you guys see Kingsley's little head popping up here every once in a while? But I like his mustache a little unruly. So I think it's going to stay that way. And also I haven't glued his skis on yet, but here are his skis that are going to go on him. So I'm kind of hoping that it will help him stand upright to put his little skis with him. But that is my little gnome guy. I decided to call him a kit. So he is my finish a kit square. There we go. Because I needed to finish him. I was excited to get him done. All right, so that was a lot. Like after thinking that I hadn't finished a lot for the month of February, now that I actually have gone through this, that's a lot of finished things. So I'm very proud of myself. Very proud of myself. So that leads me now back to what is still on my needles. This is the Callisto hat. This is the January year of hats from Kelborn Woolens. This is Germantown DK. I made the mistake of casting this on earlier this month instead of thinking through what I already had available in my whip pile. So I quickly decided, okay, that was not a great plan for my game, so I'm going to set this aside. However, whenever I needed to grab something that I could quickly pick up and work on for a little bit, I did. So I have put some rounds on this, but it's not anywhere near gonna be finishing. So that is, again, the Callisto project. And I want to point out these cute little tip ties. This is a product from Twice Sheared Sheep in their trunk show. And it's the same material as the, we call them sweater vines here, but the silicone tubes that you can stick onto your needle tips to put your stitches on as a stitch holder. Dawn at Twice Sheared Sheep developed it also as a kind of a point protector, So I snagged a set so you guys could see what that looked like. So that's the Callisto hat, still on the needles. And then I was really hoping to get more of this finished this month, and it just hasn't happened. No, I do still have a couple days, but that is definitely not enough time to get 12 inches of body knit and still be a person. So this is my soft current tee. This is knit out of our gnome's feet, and the color is called Dragon Scales. So I did pick it up, worked a few rounds last night to make sure I remembered where I was. I got my knit companion pattern pulled up so I could, make sure I could remember the pattern and figure out where I was. So I will continue working on this, even though Finish Object February will be over and I won't get my garment square for finishing this. I'm still planning to finish this so that when the warmer weather does finally hit, I will have a new t-shirt to wear and show off. And I also have the tip ties on this set of needles. I have them on both of these that I've shown are on circular needles, but you can certainly use them to put together your straight needles. I would suspect that you could, even if you knit socks on double points or mittens or anything, use double points. If you smush the double points together so all the needles are going in the same direction, I would think that you could use the tip ties on that as well. Let's see. Sunny is sharing that they now have a sleeved version of that. They sure do. They sure do. Linda is making the argument that sleeves are garments. That square, there's a lot of controversy that arises with the garment square. And again, I think the definition all depends on each person. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. So since I was talking about the tip ties on my current projects, let's take a look at some of the items that are left from the Twice Sheared Sheep trunk show. So I went through everything they sent us last week during Feature Friday, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things that as the week has gone by, I've really enjoyed and taken some for myself because I love them. And the first thing was those tip ties. So it does come with 2 each of 3 different sizes. So this pink one is a really thick cord, so I didn't have a project to use those for, but it comes in a package like this, and you get 6 of these little tip ties, and these little tip ties are $9 for the set. And then I wanted to point out the stitch markers because they're really functional. And that isn't always a huge selling point for stitch markers, right? A lot of times when we buy stitch markers, we buy them kind of impulsively because they're pretty or they're cute or we want to use them, dress up our knitting a little bit. But I wanted to show you guys, again, their simple ring stitch markers. So they have them in 2 sizes, and we have them in 2 color versions. So the first set that I'm going to show you, this is the medium set. So these will go up to a 5mm needle, which is a US 8, and they're just simple metal rings. So if you're working on something that's a little more complex, you got a lot of stitches going on, and you don't want anything to get in the way. You don't want anything hanging down and getting in the way of your stitching. These work really beautifully for that. So again, that's the plain metal ones that are up to a size 8. And then they do have these rainbow ones that are up to a size 10.5. This is the large set, up to a 10.5. So their simple stitch markers are $16, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of each style in those packages. In keeping with the snag-free stitch markers, I wanted to point these ones out again. These are the Infinity stitch markers. These are $18 for the set, and they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 markers in each set. This is the medium size, which goes up to a size 8. So what I love about this set is it is pretty. It does have those pretty beads on there, but the wire is all enclosed. The ends of the wire are actually tucked inside the bead, so they're nice and smooth. They're not going to get caught or snag your yarn. So I think this is a good compromise. These are functional, but they're still really pretty too and fun to look at. So I love those. Again, those are the Infinity markers. Those are 18. And then, Jason, you don't even know this yet. My friend Kathy and I discovered this week that we have 2 different versions of the row counters from Twice Sheared Sheep. I was not well versed enough in what Twice Sheared Sheep offered. I didn't realize that there were 2 different versions. So these really pretty row counters this is the original style, and it's just a long chain. So it starts at 0, goes down to 9. Starts at 1 and goes to 0. It has a cute little charm on the end, and then it has a little clip here. So this little clip, once you get to 10 rows or rounds, you can move that clip into the tens position, and that will help you keep track. So you can go up to, what, 100 rounds just using these row counters. However, it is worth noting that A, when you're just getting started, or B, when you're starting back at 1, 2, 3, starting again, the length of the chain is really long, and it kind of falls around and kind of gets caught in things, or it can. So Twice Sheared Sheep came up with an answer to that, and it is these circular row counters. So this one is actually connected. There's no break in it. So it's not a straight chain, it's actually round. So it ends up being shorter, so there's no part that will flop around and get caught in your fabric. And you can still mark it, still use it the same way. It's just is a little bit more, a little bit less in your way. So again, I didn't realize that when I was showing you guys these last week, but we do have a selection of both, and they do come in sizes. I did happen to just grab 2 medium sizes, and the size refers to the rings that are between the numbers. So the larger ones go up to a 10.5. These ones go up to a size 8. Row counters are 25. So just a couple of things that I wanted to either clear up or clarify for you guys, or B, just things that I have used during the week and really thought were fabulous. So we do have the trunk show available through tomorrow. We will be sending it back Monday or Tuesday. So if you are interested in any of those things, make sure you either get in here or give us a call and let us know that you're interested, and we can get that set up for you. All right, how are we doing on time? What time is it? 11:40. Perfect. All right. The next thing I want to show you guys, this was a suggestion by Rachel. You know what? I think it's the same Rachel.
Yes, Rachel, please.
Okay. So this was a suggestion, a request by Rachel. She wanted to see our March color of the month, or she wanted to order our March color of the month, which is called Superfluous, and it is neon speckles of a brilliant rainbow of colors. She wanted to order it on Burley Gnome, which normally isn't an option that we offer regularly, but I thought, you know what? I think it would be fabulous on Burley Gnome, which is our super bulky yarn for Gnome River Yarns. So I dyed up 6 skeins so that Rachel could have 2 of them. So I have 4 additional skeins of Superfluous on Burley Gnome available, and look at how amazing it turned out. I love it. So if anybody is interested in Superfluous on Burley, we have 4 available. You can order it on our special edition listing. So you would want to search for Gnome River Special Edition. And again, the name is called Superfluous. superfluous on burley. So Rachel, this is what you got your notification about. It is here, and it is actually ready to pick up, even though technically March is not ready. But these are. I know, isn't it beautiful? See, Rachel says that turned out spectacular. I can't wait. Thank you for accommodating my request. Absolutely. I'm glad that we could. And thank you for the suggestion, because it really is amazing on the burley gnome. So there you have it. That is what I've been up to for Gnome River Yarns. All right. So as promised in the beginning of the video, I have 2 yarns to share with you guys. The first one is a new to Yarn Garden base or yarn from Manos. It is not new to the Manos line. It's actually one of their better selling, longer standing fingering weight yarns. This is just a way for us to kind of get started in the line, and I really liked what the yarns do when they are knit up. So this is Alegria from Manos del Uruguay, and it is a fingering weight yarn, 75% merino superwash, 25% polyamide. It's 100 gram skein, 445 yards. So for a sock, they're recommending a US 1 at a gauge of 28 to 30 stitches per 4 inches. So you can see there are really big, bold sections of each color. And this is going to drive Jason crazy, of course, but I am going to undo it so you can see. There are really big sections of color. So we've got that really pretty peachy color. We've got this really pretty red shade, big section, like inches of yarn in that color. And then we have this pretty kind of lilac-y purple. So 3 colors, big sections of it. So what's going to happen when you knit a small circumference item out of this, like a sock, is you're going to get what's called a micro stripe, So you might get, maybe you get a full round of each color, or you get a 3/4 of the round in one color, but you get a, they start to stack on top of each other. So it looks almost like you're knitting single round stripes. So it knits up really interestingly. So again, this one is called Love Struck. These are on our website. Is that right? They're available to buy. There's just nothing, no content there, right? He's gonna look right now, but I think that's the case. But this is called Alegria Superpool by Manos. Is that right? I'm sorry, I thought you looked at it. The bamboo one I know is. Oh, the computer is being... Anyway, I believe that you can see this on the website, but there's no content. We haven't gotten to get pictures taken and get content out there. But if you love it and you see it here, it is something you can purchase on the website. You just won't see details.
Correct.
Right?
Alegria Superpool. Yeah.
Yep. So you could look up Alegria Superpool. And again, I'll tell you color names so you can see that. Or I can send pictures if you are interested. So again, this is called Love Struck. And price is $34.95. $34.95. This one screams spring to me. This is called Lila. So all 4 colors that I'm going to show you have 3 colors within each skein, and they're all those big sections of color. So you get, again, those micro stripes. So here you've got this really pretty peach, this beautiful leafy green, and then that really pretty lilac kind of lavender color. And again, this one is called Lila. Next up is Bobo. This one is called Bobo. So you got this beautiful sky blue, and then you've got this bright cherry red, and then you've got this, like, it's almost like cherry Coke colored. Like it's a really dark brown that's almost a deep burgundy red. It's a really pretty, pretty color. This one, again, is called Bobo. I'll go through all 4 again at the end. This one is my favorite, of course. This one is called Pippi. So again, we've got that pretty lilac lavender color. We've got that dark cherry chocolate color. And then we've got, of course, my favorite aqua teal color. So again, all 4 of these are worked up the same way, 3 big chunks of color, and will work up in micro stripes when you're making a small circumference item like a sock. Okay, so let's go through them again. This is Love Struck, Lila, Bobo, and Pippi. So 4 new fingering weight sock yarns from Manos called Alegria. You can find them on the website. Alegria Super Pool, but there is no content there, no pictures or anything yet. So those are available. I know, Maggie, I think they're so pretty. And I don't know how they dye it, because it's the way that they have it positioned. I'm not sure how they do it. All right.
What weight is this?
It's fingering weight. Yep, for socks. Or, I mean, you don't have to make socks out of it, but it is dyed to make those micro stripes in a small circumference thing. All right. How do we do it on time? 11? Oh, we got lots of time. Lots of time. Okay, so this next yarn is a brand new yarn from Manos. It is called Bambook. Bambak or Bambook. So I wanted to share a little bit about the fiber before we talk about it. What are you growling about, dude?
You don't know.
He's right on my feet and he's growling down here. So let's take a look at one skein first. Let's take a look at this beautiful skein. This again is called Bambook from Manos del Uruguay. Look at this adorable little hopping sheep over a fence on their label. This is 70% merino superwash and 30% bamboo. So we're going to revisit the yarns and the colors, but I want to talk about bamboo fiber first. So I'm going to hold this up closer so you guys can see. And I want you to notice how shiny it is, the luster that this really beautiful yarn has in it. And we're going to have a little story time. We're going to learn a little bit about bamboo fiber. Because you'll recall, bamboo grows in a stick and you always see pandas eating it, right? So how does that become a fiber? You don't pop off a stick of bamboo and start spinning it, right? There's a process that it has to go through to become bamboo fiber. So this is my handy dandy book of yarn resource. It's no longer published, I don't believe. So if you can find a copy of it and you are a yarn nerd like myself, you will love this book. It is called The Knitter's Book of Yarn. It's the ultimate guide to choosing, using, and enjoying yarn by Claire Parks. There are patterns in it, but it is such a wealth of knowledge about yarn and how it's made and all the fibers. I refer to it quite frequently. But again, it's not published anymore, so I don't have any copies for sale. But if you can find it, it is well worth it. So let's take a step back and let's talk about cellulosic fibers. So fibers that are made from a plant. So this entire category was born from a long-standing desire to recreate silk without worms, without the aid of a silkworm. The Chinese thought about it for thousands of years, but it wasn't until the mid-1800s that serious progress was made in creating so-called artificial silk. Its early manufacture did mimic the silkworm's method, processing cellulosic plant materials, including mulberry tree bark, which is what silkworms eat to make the beautiful silk that we love, into a liquid solution that was then extruded and hardened into fibers. That sounds so gross to me, but so basically what they do is they take this plant material and they use some sort of chemicals to make it into a liquid solution, and then they force it through a spinneret and it's hardened into fibers. So the process is much like how spiders and how worms do create their silk. So they have the liquid inside them and then they force it through a little spinneret and it makes it into this fiber, right? I'm sure a very simplistic explanation of it, but you get the idea. Several different techniques for creating artificial silk evolved simultaneously, and in 1924, in an effort to promote this fiber on its own 2 feet, was given the name rayon. So rayon is the umbrella term for a man-made fiber that started as a plant material, as this cellulosic fiber. And even today, efforts are underway to transform the cellulose base of many more plant materials into wearable fibers. So that's kind of a general step back on the process to using bamboo fiber for to make yarn. So again, rayon is the kind of umbrella term for any of these fibers that are created using plant material. So rayon is, let's see, rayon was made from wood pulp using the viscose process. So that's rayon. Modal is made from beech trees. Acetate is made from regenerated cotton or tree pulp cellulose. Interesting. There's more details about all of that. Lyocell is a different kind of trademarked one, but it's made from wood pulp again, but it's dissolved in a different kind of solution. So all of these things are considered rayon, but they're different subsets, and they're either done with a different base plant fiber or they're using a different kind of process, but they're all still considered rayon or artificial silk. And this was published in 2007, so it is like almost 20 years old. And in that time, there have been many, many other cellulosic fibers that have come under that rayon umbrella of fibers, including the fiber in Tilly, and I can't think of the name of it. It is cotton and Cupro. Thank you, Jason. Who would have ever thought that you would know so much about yarn?
I don't think I drink coffee.
So Cupro is one of the newest versions of a rayon that is produced from a cotton fiber. Okay, so let's narrow this all down back into bamboo. Okay, so bamboo, primarily coming from China. Bamboo fiber is derived from the cellulose in the bamboo stalk. The fiber is unique in that it contains an antibacterial and bacteriostasis bioagent that stays in the fiber even after the garment has been washed 50 times, making it unusually good for antibacterial purposes. So we love bamboo for things such as socks, you know, when we're knitting socks. Makes a great fiber for sheets, for bed sheets. And it's a beautiful fiber for, you know, summer garments if you happen to be sweaty. It helps keep the smell down. The fiber's cell structure is made of microscopic holes that provide for extremely rapid moisture absorption and evaporation, giving it an excellent ability to breathe. You'll find it alone or frequently blended with fibers such as tencel and cotton. Regia blends it with wool and polyamide in a popular machine washable sock yarn. So there you have it. That is a little lesson. You didn't know you were going to go to school today and learn about different kinds of fibers. But we love it. I love it when it is blended with other fibers. 100% bamboo, if you've ever tried to knit with 100% bamboo, it's even like more liquidy, if that makes any sense, than knitting with 100% silk. So it can be tough to knit a really pretty smooth like stockinette stitch fabric with it because of how like liquidy or how drapey the 100% yarn can be. It will show off any minuscule change in gauge, or even like if you set your project down for a few days and you come back to it, you might be able to see that line where the stitches rested on your needle or on your cable just for a short period of time. So while it makes a beautiful fabric and it drapes beautifully like silk does, it's not always the easiest to work with. So typically nowadays, we find bamboo blended with other items. So that circles us back to this new yarn from Manos called Bambook. Again, this is available on our website, but we don't have images or content yet. But you can see it here, and then you can make that purchase on the website. So again, remember how our book told us that bamboo can be antibacterial? Amazing. That is perfect and wonderful for socks, and especially when we're combining it with the properties from a wool. So let's take a look. This is, again, Bambook from Manos del Uruguay. It is 70% superwash merino, 30% bamboo. Let's see here. They have a new label, so I'm trying to orient myself to where all the things are. It is 100 gram skein, 437 yards per 100 grams. They're recommending a size 1 or 2 needle and 32 to 38 stitches to 4 inches. Hand wash or machine wash and dry flat. So that is one thing that my book that I didn't see, whether a rayon fiber in general can be machine washed. I do believe that they tend to be a little more fragile. So you do need to make sure that they are, you care for it lightly, which we would anyway when we're hand making things. Anyway, so again, that is 70 Merino Superwash, 30% bamboo. This particular color is called Trench. And the skeins are $34.95. $34.95. So the yarn is dyed in Uruguay. It says made in Uruguay, but a lot of the bamboo fibers do come from China because of how prolific the bamboo fiber itself grows in China. So again, this is the Trench color. This is Trench. We have 9 colors. This beautiful shades of pinks and reds, this is called Rouge. This one is called Rouge. So these are hand dyed, and these are all dyed using a variety of different techniques. So they're not necessarily super poolers like the Allegria that I showed you. They're just really beautifully variegated. This is Nectar. This is Nectar. I love this one. Really beautiful light shades of yellows and pinks and greens with that little bit of a blue pop in there. This one again is called Nectar. This lovely shades of blues. This is, I think, the one I showed at the very beginning. This is Metallic. This is Metallic. So this one actually has a little bit of kind of speckles in there going on. But again, grays, purples, lilacs, really beautiful. There's some pops of a little bit more of a royal purple. Let's see. Looks like I had some questions that I missed. Did this author write the Book of Wool? Yes, she did. She's Clara Parks is a very accomplished author of several different nonfiction books, but she also writes some clever, fun little knitting and crocheting, yarn-based fiction books too. Maybe mixing her up with someone else. But yes, she has a ton of really wonderful nonfiction books about yarn. Let's see. This is Elf. This one is my favorite. This one is called Elf. My favorite, of course, because it has this olive pretty shade of leafy kind of green and then that bright aqua teal and some pretty shades of purple in there as well. So this is Elf. Elf. E-L-F. Love that one. And Sandy, did I see that you had shared that you can find them on used bookstores at used bookstores? I think that I saw you post that. This is Fresh Water. This one is Fresh Water. So all the denim shades, we've got navy, we've got light blue, we've got that royal blue, all of the blues. So I was speaking specifically that these would make lovely socks because of the antibacterial properties of the bamboo. And it does add the aspect of durability like nylon or polyamide would, but it's a little bit more eco-friendly because the source fiber grows really quickly and it's better for the environment. Now, the processing that it goes through uses a lot of water and it does use a lot of chemicals. So there is that kind of trade-off when you're starting to talk about environmentally friendly alternatives to petroleum-based yarns. You know, there's always a trade-off. There's never a 100% clean answer. But that's another aspect to bamboo that it does tend to be what most consider to be a little bit more environmentally friendly than a petroleum-based product like nylon. This color is Saki. This color is Saki. So this has these really pretty peachy pink colors. There's some kind of dark grays, almost gray browns. It's like it's in that kind of neutral shade that can go either way. And then there's these little bits of pretty green shining through there. Again, this one is called Saki. Two more. I think this one is Potpourri. Yeah, this one is called Potpourri. So this one has kind of base colors of pinks and like salmon-y colors and some sagey green gray in there, but then it also has speckles of blues and greens kind of sprinkled throughout. Debbie says there's always a trade-off. There is. Absolutely. It's upside down. There we go. All right. And last but not least, this is called tartan. This one is called tartan. So a dark, dark black base with a little, you know what, I want to open this skein up. With a little bits of red and blue. It almost looks like they did some resist dyeing, or they dyed the skein in blue and red, and then they plopped on their chunks of black that they wanted to have in there. That's probably what they did, now that I see it open like that. So again, this one is called tartan. That one is called tartan. Again, this is available on our website, which is yarngardenmichigan.com. And if you look up Bambook, it is B-A-M-B-O-K. We do not have content filled in, so there's no pictures, but it is available if you can reference our video today. So let me go through colors real quick again. This one was tartan, sake. As I'm putting these back, I can go through them. This is potpourri. This one, rouge. That makes me want to sing Moulin Rouge. This is metallic. Freshwater. Trench. Nectar. And finally, elf. We had elf. That one was my favorite. So there we go. I think I started to say that this doesn't have to be just for socks. Because of the drape of that bamboo rayon, it would make a beautiful shawl as well. That drape would just be lovely. So yeah, take a look out for that. And I hope you enjoyed a little lesson on rayon and how it's made. I remember when I first heard that bamboo was made, like yarn was made out of bamboo, I'm trying to figure out where is the fluffy stuff that they spin. So there's your answer. They make bamboo based on a viscose. So it was interesting. I think Debbie Bliss was one of the first branded yarns that came out with a bamboo, and the label said 100% bamboo. And they got in a little bit of trouble with that, and they ended up having to relabel everything and say that it is bamboo viscose, or bamboo rayon made from bamboo or something. They had to change the wording. So yeah, there you have it. A little bit of history lesson there too. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Diane says one skein does 2 socks. Yes. Yep. Both of the yarns I showed you today are 100 grams. So that would definitely make a pair. Oh, it's 12:04. I went over. I get going when I'm teaching, right? All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today. Again, you still have, a day and a half of Finish Object February to get your projects finished and get those bingo cards turned in so that you can get entered in for prizes. So next week, March 7th, will be our wrap-up. I believe it's March 7th. Let me make sure. Let me look on the back of my bingo card. Yes, so we will be drawing for prizes during our live video next Friday, March 7th. So if you turn in a bingo card, you're going to want to make sure that you're watching so that you see what prize you get when you get it drawn. And just a reminder, you can turn in your bingo card to be entered into the prize drawing with any 5 squares. They do not have to make a bingo. It can be any 5 squares turned in will get you entered into the prize drawing. And all of you that got bingos, you will also be entered into the prize drawing as well, but only once. Each bingo card gets you turned into the prize drawing once. And those cards need to be turned into us by March 4th. So that's Wednesday, March 4th. We need them either in person or emailed to the email on the back of your bingo card. You can just snap a picture and email it over to us here at the Yarn Garden by email. I try to make sure it's all in the same spot. So either in store or by email, and we will get those entered in so that you can go for Feature Friday. Thank you, Anna. I don't know what Friday the date is. I have it on as the 7th here, but it is absolutely possible that it's wrong. Next Friday's Feature Friday is when we will do the prize drawing. Not the 7th. It is the 6th. My apologies. The prize drawing will be done on the 6th. You do not need to be present to win. We will save your prize for you if you can't watch live. All right. I think that's it. I think that is it, my friends. Thank you guys so much if you're hanging with us. We're going over a little bit. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you're watching from YouTube, thank you for finding us. And I invite you over to Facebook to watch us live every Friday at 11 o'clock. And then we can interact and hang out. All right, that is it for me today. I think it was a great episode going through all of the things that I have finished. So I hope you enjoyed that as well. All right, guys, we will see you again next week. Have a great week.